Go ahead and call the Board of Public Works meeting May 18th, 2021 to order. Reading of the minutes, approval of the last meeting.
Make a motion, we suspend the rules and approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, suspend the reading and approval of the minutes. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Payment of claims, $96,469.21.
I'll make a motion that we accept the claims as presented for $96,469.21.
Second.
Motion been made by Ron, seconded by Bill. Payment of claims, $96,469.21. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Regular payroll, $173,719.77.
I make a motion we accept the regular payroll as presented.
Second.
Motion been made by Bill and seconded by Ron to pay the payroll of $173,719.77. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Old business, seeing none. Moving on to new business. As soon as I get my papers separated here. First order of new business is resolution number 9 of 2021. The accepting the transfer of real property from Miami County, Indiana Board of Commissioners pursuant to the Indiana Code 36-1-11-8. Reads, resolution accepting transferring of real property from Miami County, Indiana Board of Commissioners pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-11-8. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Miami County are the owners of the real property commonly known as 30 East 5th Street, Peru, Indiana 46970, parcel number 52-08-27-305.000-016 and 28 East 5th Street, Peru, Indiana 46970, parcel number 52-08-27-305.000-016, and whereas the following real estate in Miami County, Indiana was offered to the city of Peru for redevelopment purposes, and whereas Indiana Code 36-1-11-8 authorizes the transfer of property between governmental entities upon terms and conditions agreed upon by the entities as evidenced by the adoption of a substantially identical resolution by each entity, and whereas the county adopted its substantially identical resolution to authorize the transfer of the aforementioned parcels held in the name of the Miami County Board of Commissioners to the city of Peru, and whereas city, by adopting this substantially identical resolution, is authorized to accept the transfer of the aforementioned parcels. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Peru Board of Public Works and Safety as follows. Number 1, following the county and city's adoption of substantially identical resolutions to authorize the transfer of the real property commonly known as 30 East 5th Street, Peru, Indiana 46970, parcel number 52-08-27- 302-355.000-016 and 28 East 5th Street, Peru, Indiana, 46970, parcel number 52-08-27-302-354.000-016, currently held in the name of the Miami County Board of Commissioners to the city of Peru, Indiana. The county will transfer the parcels to the city pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-11-8. Number 2, no money shall be paid by the city for the transfer of said properties. Number 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. Passed and enacted by the City of Peru Board of Public Works and Safety. This would be the 18th day of May 2021.
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution and accept the property.
Second.
Motion been made by Ron, seconded by Bill. We accept the transfer of the properties. All in favor signify saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, so done. Next order of
And I'll
business.
just add to that, the county commissioners did pass their substantially identical resolution yesterday at their or commissioners meeting.
And we do have a copy of that here. Would you like for me to read it?
I don't think we need to read it,
Okay.
but just making
It-
it known.
It's pretty much identical to what I had just read. Okay, nothing else under that. Moving on to the next order of business. Michael Keeper, on behalf of Nickel Plate Trails, requesting permission to work with Todd Wolf and to borrow obsolete equipment and restripe the yellow line on Nickel Plate Trail.
Yeah, I can give a little information on that. Back in January, we had some hoodlums knock down all the bollards from Peru to Kokomo, actually the whole South Trail. So that kind of brought up a need a little stronger to restripe the lines at each intersection. And my understanding is Todd has some old equipment that they're no longer using, and that's what we're talking about using. And on the bollards, since I brought that up, we're not going to replace them. We've done some study and found that they actually harm bicyclists. And so by doing some better striping, really all the bollard was supposed to do is just warn people it's a bike path and not road. So anyway, that brought up the need for painting, and so I'd like to know, Todd, if you could explain that machine.
Well, it's just one of our old striper. We bought that new one a couple of years ago. It still works. And that's, Mike had called me about it, and I mentioned that, kind of jumping in front of things like I shouldn't have. I should have came to the board first, and that decision falls on you guys. If the city equipment can be used for something not city, not within the city's purview to do.
The only problem I have with it is if we start in the habit of loaning out equipment, not that it's not to a good cause or anything, but to me it puts the city within liability-wise if something would happen to where the motor blows up or you get hurt using our equipment, the city's going to be liable. I don't feel safe having that done and being said. Not only that, but if we start loaning out equipment, the next thing you know, every business in town is going to be coming to us and saying, hey, you're not using this equipment, let us use it to stripe our parking lots or anything like that. I just don't feel safe in loaning out city equipment. Whether it hadn't been used for a year or not makes no difference, liability-wise.
So,
What,
I guess I was wondering, where would we be if we wanted to sell it? I mean, if we're not gonna use it anymore, I mean, were you keeping it as a backup, or?
Well, yeah, we did for a while, but this new machine is so reliable, we don't.
So depending on the value and depending on whether it's considered discarded or not, potentially have to follow the public disposal at,
So it'd have to be a
No.
bid process?
potentially, yes.
Yeah, that one, and the problem is, those things are so, that, I don't know, if Dan might have been here that day, but that old horrible piece of junk that we stuck in the police auction brought like almost $2,000. So it's got quite a bit of value. And
So
it barely worked, that one.
Okay.
Just to let you know what,
I mean, is
what
there,
the price of them are.
is there a way to rent it? Or,
I'd say the only, aside from like parks, the pavilion and stuff, the only city property that's available to rent would be the dump trucks, and they use that as a source of additional income. I'm sure we could potentially figure something out there, but it doesn't change the fact that still,
And the dump
potential-
truck, yeah, they park it, you don't even get.
Right, but they-
Yeah.
The homeowner's not really using it, they're just filling it up, they're not moving it or anything like that, so,
they're not operating it.
correct.
So I don't know, there may be something creative that could be done to resolve that, but have to take a little thought.
I mean, I agree, I just don't think getting in the habit of loaning out equipment's probably in the best interest.
it'd be, to me, it'd be setting a bad precedent. I mean, not that it's not for a good cause,
right.
but liability-wise and setting a bad precedent, I just can't.
Well, I understand that, but also, you know, as a group, we brought, I mean, just to Peru alone, you know, $3 or $4 million of infrastructure projects. It's not, you know, it's different than just some business needing to borrow something.
But if another agency or another group, say United Way wanted to borrow something, then, you know, today it's the striping machine, they need to borrow a backhoe, you know, or because there's an old backhoe sitting there they're not using. Where do you draw the line? I mean, that's the thing. At what point do you draw the line, and how do you justify drawing it?
Why can't you take it as a case by case? And he's right, the trail has brought in millions of dollars.
Sure.
It's a great thing that we're trying to build off of in Peru, and why couldn't they just sign something that maybe waives liability to the city to
On
be
a
able to
ca-
use it?
Sorry, on a case-by-case basis, I mean, do you then get into the issue of selective treatment? Why did you allow so-and-so to have it and not somebody else? That's just the only issue when you go to the selective treatment or case-by-case basis. Makes no difference to me what they decide.
Could he sign something that would waive liability?
Another question I have you operated any
Yes, he
equipment
could.
like this
Could, but-
prior to?
Dustin's answering that question.
Well, I would find somebody that knew how to do it or have taught trained us.
I mean, it's not a piece of equipment you can just get on and it's more than a spray painter.
No, I
Uh,
understand. Well, we've got a pretty good volunteer base. We, you know, it's just hard for us to have all the equipment.
Dustin, would that be like in the Parks Department when we did the equipment rental of like the projector, and we did some kind of a liability rental form when we loaned out the equipment, the projector and then the speaker system and all that for the circus to use, I think, at one time.
I'm trying to remember that specifically.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know, I mean, I don't know if that's because it is still city equipment, because it is owned by the Parks Department, but we did some kind of contract up that we did with them to let them lease that out. I mean, we didn't charge anything,
At the amphitheater, correct?
and the circus building actually used it for their show. The actual big, yes, it was the amphitheaters where we had all the projection screen and everything that we had, but it was the Parks Department's. It was the stuff that Kent Workman had gotten, and it's in storage at the Parks Department, but we let other entities sign the contract to use it.
I'm trying to remember that
I know,
specifically.
and I don't know. It's been a few years ago.
But I know to operate the mowers and the trucks and all that kind of stuff, they had to watch a video. Insurance required watching videos. They had to sign off on the training and all that kind of stuff. So, because it's machinery, and you know, I don't know if that's going to be different than, I just don't know.
So Betsy asked a question about potential liabilities. I mean, there could be some type of waiver, hold harmless agreement signed, an indemnification agreement, but that doesn't change the idea of potentially loaning out or renting out, allowing others to use the city property, which in and of itself is the issue of selective enforcement, picking and choosing who and what.
Well, the mayor said he had two issues. The first issue was harm, and then the second was where do you stop it? So at least signing the waiver would take away the first issue.
Potentially, yes.
But then we'd still have to come up with something if it got tore up. I mean, like if you go rent a
Right.
piece of equipment, you have to either buy the insurance or you're liable for it. Because at this stage, I mean, if it still works, it sounds like it's got some fairly good value to it.
Yeah, it does.
Not saying they would tear it up on purpose, but things happen, so.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and that could be worked into an agreement if it's decided it can be done.
So, could you draw up some sort of release? The only thing I'm saying, it's not like you're renting a spray
A can.
can and an air compressor. You're renting a piece of sophisticated equipment that even if it isn't cleaned out right, even though we don't use it, if it's not taken care of in a certain way, then it comes back damaged.
Todd, is this one that you ride?
Yeah, it's got the pusher.
Okay, so if we would approve this,
Or you
and-
can unhook the pusher. I mean, you don't have to have the pusher hooked to it.
then what happens when the next person comes in and wants something? How do we open ourselves up? I mean, because if we say no for the next one, or we say yes for the next one, and then the third one comes in, I think you can't draw the line anymore.
Right, and that's the issue. Where do you draw the line?
And
It's always-
what equipment are you going to be, I mean,
So where do you draw the line as to who can use the property, and where do you draw the line as what property can be used? So, yeah, it creates a couple big issues, potentially, but.
Maybe think of, we're building infrastructure for the public, where a lot of these other scenarios, it'd be for personal or private business use, where in this case, we're building something that's for the public, the good of the citizens approved by the county and elsewhere. So,
That-
you know,
I don't think it'd be an issue for any of the, like if Todd went and stripped it as far as the property or the part of the trail that's actually located within the city limits. Outside of that, whether it provides a service to the community or not, it's not necessarily, it shouldn't be fronted on taxpayer dollars outside of the community, outside the city limits.
Is this a project that's out of the city limits then? Does this go
Yeah.
out?
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, the city is in good shape, so I don't have to do the city. It's,
How big a project is this? Is this something take a day, 2 days, 3 days? a month?
An hour.
If it's, we're talking, Riverside Drive South, correct?
yeah. So 25 feet on each side, so yellow stripe,
If
25
you
feet.
started that on a Sunday morning, you'd be done by Sunday afternoon. I mean, because, that's just, because you'd zip along, I mean, you'd have to follow it. Of course, then you'd be, if we did it, we'd have to follow along with our side-by-side lit up. That's the only thing I'm thinking of too. Yeah, you wouldn't want to just, then you'd have, of course, then you'd have to come back. You'd have to leave a vehicle at the other end with a trailer.
So what would be the cost in the city donating your time, or, and they pay for material, or how this works, donating, just donating that time? Is this something that's costly to the taxpayer, or is this something that is feasible?
How many intersections are there between there?
Mm,
Do you think there's a mile of yellow altogether?
Well, the 25 feet, 20, yeah, some locations 50, and then, so each county road, so there's, so it goes to, what is it, 14. So even if you double that, so probably, 25 to 30 intersections.
So it's only at the intersections where you're
Yeah.
marking that there's an intersection coming
Yeah,
up?
there's a yellow line.
Yeah.
And since the vandals took out the stop bar, we don't want to, anyway, in learning more about it, and studying and reading what other trails are doing nationally, we found that the steel bollard there in the middle actually ends up injuring bicyclists. And if a vandal wants to get through, they go around anyway.
And was you guys willing to donate or pay for the paint and this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing? But we just need to
Yeah.
donate time?
I just don't have the equipment.
Yeah, so you're probably talking 2 miles of yellow. That would cost, that'd probably take 15 gallons. That's what we usually use up on the hill. 4 buckets, that'd be 20 gallons, and you're talking $225.
So they're going to pay for the paint,
Yeah.
we would have to donate the time, and you're talking half a day's worth of labor times 2 guys?
Probably, maybe.
Well, I think
maybe-
initially they were wanting to do it themselves.
Right, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
to get away
I'm
from,
open.
He's just trying to find a solution.
I'm just trying to find a solution to that. If, we do a lot of donations, and I don't want to put, burden on the taxpayer. I mean, that would be a burden, somewhat on labor, 2 guys, half a day. I mean, I don't know Todd's schedule, I shouldn't be saying this either, but I'm just looking at a happy medium here. Yeah, because we do donate a lot of time, as far as the fire department, we donate a lot of time just for a cause for the city, I'm just looking at a happy medium here, liability-wise, to make
But-
everybody happy.
The difference, I would say, I think that's good, but it's not really for the city. It sounds like it's all out in the county.
Yeah.
That's, I agree, but you don't go out in the county and do a lot of things. You stay in your,
Yeah, when Bill out of the sign department asks if we want to count traffic, we'll throw the counter up out on in Mexico or whatever they have.
so we do that.
We do kind of cooperate with them on that.
Does the county have one of them striping machines?
No, they contract all of theirs.
Plus, now that we have that new connection, a lot of people from the city of Peru are riding the trail out into the county. So in a way, it does serve people that reside in the city.
Sure.
And also, it sounds like it's a safety precaution as well.
Right.
I just think, it just seems like there's some way it should be able to be worked out.
I'd like to make a motion that we table it until the next meeting so we can explore some of these options.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded that we table this till the next meeting so that we can get more of exact
That sounds fine.
time and exact positions and everything where this is at. And then we'll revisit it in 2 weeks
That'd be fine.
at our next Board of
That-
Works
that
meeting.
work out?
And then, the only other question I have too is the trail considered, is it sovereign through each county? Or is it held to the county's bylaws and,
It, we're not for profit, so we own it in the 3
Okay.
counties.
because I thought maybe when we
Like-
crossed into another county, they might, hey, what's going on? You know, if it looks.
No, it-
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, and, I mean, I've worked well with some like Kokomo. In fact, I've had the city of Kokomo actually do work in Miami County when their Parks Department is helping. So, in fact, they even did some paving to Cassville. So, so to get the job done, they were willing to.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to table this till next Board of Works meeting. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Mike, get with me sometime within the next week and a half.
Sure.
We need to sit down, with Ron and Bill and I, and you can sit down and,
Yeah, I'll get a tax figure on money.
right.
I'll measure all this stuff on Google, on the Google Earth.
It's not that we're against it, it just,
Just figuring out the right way. to do
it's
it.
kind of a unique situation that we need to address all avenues of it.
And I don't know if this is the right time, but probably doing it on a Sunday wouldn't be the right thing, because then we'd be into overtime and stuff like that. So
Well-
it would have to be done during normal working times.
We don't get overtimes. We actually do some work on Sundays
Okay.
on the busier roads, and then we compensate by
Work it
not
out,
coming in on
okay.
Monday. Yeah.
Which, you run into the issue of ghost employment type if you're using taxpayer dollars to do a project that's not related
Not-
to his actual
But
job.
if we, like Betsy said, in some ways it does benefit taxpayers. So, I mean, if we can, I don't know if that's enough of a way of getting around that or not, but
Not being out in the county, it would have to be donated time. It wouldn't be able to be on city's time.
But
no.
what if the nickel plate what if their association covered those costs? Then
Like-
it's not ghost.
So they'd have to donate that cost back to the city in a way, but, yeah, just paying cash out of the table. Because you can't profit from city property doing nothing, yeah. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Okay, next order of business. Pete Johnson, on behalf of the Vengeance Motorcycle Group, is requesting City Street be blocked off between 6th and 8th on Clay between the hours of 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on May 29th for their yearly memorial ride. I don't see Pete anywhere here. I'll just go ahead and read his agenda here. May 29th, we're having our yearly memorial ride, and we would like to have the road closed down for North Clay Street from 6th Street to 8th Street, starting at least before 9 a.m. until at least 6 p.m. Thank you, Beaver Secretary. Dan, did you have any problems there last year when they done this?
Not to my knowledge.
Fire Chief, did you have any problems over there that you know of?
No, not really. I mean, we did here recently on just the evening, trying to get through there with longer. Met PLS trucks, and they have motorcycles on both sides of the road and backing out of there because they
Are they want, how much before 9? Is 9 gonna be okay, or are they,
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing, are they,
like I said, he wasn't here. It says at least before 9 to at least 6. I would say we'll do it 9 to 6, and they can work around it.
I'll make a motion that we give them permission from, as they requested, from 9 AM to 6 PM.
Second.
Motion been made, grant the closure on May 29th on North Clay Street between 8th and 6th from 9 AM to 6 PM on that day. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next order of business. Carrie Young, on behalf of the Relay for Life, is requesting use of the pavilion by the Riverwalk Fort to house Glow Run / Walk for Relay for Life. Also requesting that any fees be waived for the use of the event. Registration is at 7 p.m. Begin walk run at 9 p.m. Use of the restroom and lighting on River Walkway for 7/31 of 21. Carrie?
Yep, do you have any questions? We actually finally, for Relay for Life, are moving back to being able to have events. We've had to postpone our Bark for Life. We've had to do a lot because of the COVID still. July 1st, they're actually giving us permission to actually go back into having events because of, you know, cancer survivors. And so this one will be something new that we're going to do this year. We've used the walkway many years before as far as our actual Relay for Life, which we have that in September already. But this is the Glow Run that we're going to do. Basically, just going to register at 7, do the walk. It's going to be just like a 5K. Just making sure we're going to probably keep the lights on the walkway, using the restrooms and the pavilion. We do have our nonprofit status, so if there's anything that you need for that. But something new that we're going to try, and we'll see where, since we haven't been able to do anything for quite some time, this is a new one.
What we use the pavilion for, the registration
Yes,
and
the
stuff like
registration
that.
part of it, yep.
Is there any problem keeping the lights on or anything, Todd?
I think Cliff
They're
has done
normally
that
on
before.
anyhow, I think.
Yeah, they usually are, but I don't know what time he has them come on, that Cliff does them, and he's really good about relays and pass. He's always worked with us with everything, so. I mean, I can get with him to double check.
9:30 anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
How far are you going on the walkway?
Just, I think she's only gonna mark it out a mile is from what I'm understanding, so she's not going all the way.
Just down and back then?
Yes,
And
correct. Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the Relay for Life for using the pavilion next to the fort and the restrooms and the lights.
Second.
Motion been made by Bill, seconded by Ron to do all the requests that Carrie had asked for July 31st for the Relay for Life, the Glow Walk Run. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Moving on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on. Next order of business. Chief Hawk, on behalf of Peru Fire Department, requests road closure for car shows on June 12th, 2021 on Canal Street from Miami to Cass between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Chief?
Yes, sir. It's a car show we have every year except for last year. It's there at the station. Lester Wall heads it up, does all the, pretty much does everything, other than we just host it there. All the money is donated right back into different entities. Each year they pick where it goes. Some of it goes back to Kids on Christmas to us. I think the year before they went to the VA for some stuff, equipment, different things like that.
I'll make a motion, we approve the request as presented.
Second.
Motion been made by Ron, seconded by Bill. Chief Hawk's request on June 12th, 2021 on shutting down Canal Street from Miami to Cass between the hours of 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Communications. Do you have anything, Bill?
No.
Ron?
No, sir.
I have nothing. Mr. Kern?
I have nothing.
Susan? Anything from the audience? If not, we're up to the best part of the evening. We're up for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made by Bill, seconded by Ron. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.